What's up guys, I'm Paul and welcome to my channel. So earlier today I received an email from Neil Patel linking to a blog post where he lists 9 vital plugins for any WordPress site. And I was looking through the blog post and I thought, this isn't a particularly good list. In fact, I definitely think he's missed the mark on this list. And I'm actually going to go through it with you to show what I agree with, what I disagree with, and any other options that I would add to this list. So let's jump into my computer and let's get this video started. So as you can see, we're on Neil Patel's website. His website always looks really nice. I just wish he'd get rid of some of this marketing stuff at the bottom. I don't really like it. But there's some information on general WordPress stuff. Then the first plugin is Jetpack by WordPress. I actually agree with Neil on this one. I like this plugin. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. The main reason I like it is for the stats. I think the stats are really good because you get to track all your visitors or your page views. You also get to see what links people are clicking on as well. There's also some other good features in with Jetpack as well, but personally I just use it for the stats. I really like it. I find it very useful, so I would actually agree with Neil on this one. Also, it does include a contact form, which is very useful as well. So second one is Yoast SEO. I don't really agree with him on this one. I used Yoast for many years, but I actually changed last year. I changed to the SEO framework and I think it is a better plugin, especially if you're experienced with WordPress. And the main reason is because with Yoast, it tries to get you to do all these traffic light things. And a lot of these aren't actually essential things for SEO. In fact, some of these can negatively affect your site's SEO. I much prefer being left to do things myself. I've learned a lot about SEO over the years, and I'm learning constantly all the time what works and what doesn't. And trying to follow these traffic lights, basically you can write a post that ticks all these and it's green, but actually reads really badly and is not going to do your site any good in terms of organic search. So for me, I don't like that. I just prefer to be left to write my own blog post without any kind of hints or tips along the way. So for me, I'm not a big fan of Yoast. Plus there's a lot of things in Yoast that you don't really need when it comes to SEO. So for me, it's a bit of a bloated plugin and personally not something I'd recommend. What about number 3? I have no idea how to pronounce this. Akismet. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is an anti-spam plugin, and this is only something you'd really install on your site if you've got comments active, because it does filter out a lot of the spam comments. Also, if you're using the Jetpack contact form, it does help filter out a lot of the spam emails that you can get to your site. So if you are using those two things, so comments and the Jetpack contact form, yes, this is a good plugin to use. If you don't use either of those things, this is not something you need on your site. You just don't need it, so it's definitely not a vital plugin unless you're using those two things I just mentioned. So for me, not really vital. What about number 4, WP Supercache? Now I know WP Supercache is a pretty good caching plugin, but for me I actually think there's a better option out there, but it does depend on the host you're on. Now for me, I always recommend going with hosts that use Lightspeed server technology, because generally these are the fastest types of servers. And the guys who actually developed these servers have come out with their own caching plugin as well called Lightspeed Cache. And for me, it's just a much better option. It's an optimization and caching plugin all in one. And depending on your host, you may also get access to the Quick Cloud CDN as well, which is very good. So for me, I definitely recommend going with Lightspeed Cache and going with web hosts that use Lightspeed caching technology, because it's just going to enable you to have a much better optimized website. And it's funny how he doesn't actually mention any other optimization plugins in this post. This one is completely pointless. Google XML sitemaps, you do not need a separate plugin for this. If you've got Jetpack installed, that allows you to produce a sitemap. Also, any of the SEO plugins allow you to produce a sitemap as well. Completely pointless plugin. This is, let's say, completely pointless. You definitely do not need this on your site. Scroll down to number 6, Smush. I do agree with Neil on this one. This is a very good optimization plugin. I use it on my site and it is very good. But I would recommend also doing offsite optimization as well. Use something like Canva, because Canva actually produces images that are good for websites or save for web in Photoshop. You want to optimize them before you actually begin even uploading them to your website, and using something like Smush. So you want to do offsite then on-site image compression as well. But I do agree with him on that one. I do like that plugin. Number 7, WP Forms. I used this plugin for a while. I'm not a big fan of it anymore. It is good and it's good for building custom forms, but the free one is quite limited as to what you can do. And if you just need a simple contact form, use the one from Jetpack or install one of the other simple contact form plugins, because they're much more simpler to use than this one. So for me, unless you need complicated forms, I wouldn't go with WP Forms. I also run into some technical issues with it on e-commerce Gold as well. It run into some issues with JavaScript, which I couldn't seem to figure out, so I just uninstalled it and went for something else. So WP Forms, well, it's not a bad plugin. I definitely wouldn't class it as vital. So let's go down to the next one. What are we up to? Number 8. See if I can get it on the screen. Elementor, for me, no. I have used Elementor in the past. I've tried it out. I've tried to build pages and posts with it. For me, it's a very bloated page builder in my opinion. So I have tried it out. Performance wise, they don't seem to work all that well. A lot of people like Elementor, and if you do, I've got nothing against that. But for me personally, I prefer the Gutenberg page builder and just installing a couple of block plugins, something like Stackable, which has got really good block options. And that's what I use on e-commerce Gold. I've used it on all of my sites, and I think Gutenberg is really good. It's constantly developing. So if you've got a good built-in page builder that you can just install 1 or 2 plugins for, why do you need a complete additional page builder? Definitely not vital in my opinion, but a lot of people do like it. But also a lot of people are moving away from Elementor and going to Gutenberg as well, just so you know. Right, so the final one for this one is Monster Insights. Now for me, this is another pointless-ish plugin. The reason is, if I want to see my Google Analytics, I just go and log into my Google Analytics. It doesn't take much to log into Google these days. And for me, I always try and keep as fewer plugins on my site as possible. And this one is just another one to kind of like slow things down effectively. I didn't really find it all that helpful. You might as well just go into Google Analytics. Also, if you've got Jetpack installed as well, you've already got site stats available on your site. So why do you need 2 different lots of analytics? I just don't see the point in this one. And for me, it's something I wouldn't install on my WordPress site. So those are the 9 vital plugins according to Neil Patel. As you can see, I don't really agree with him. He's also missed the mark completely on things like security. He hasn't mentioned a security plugin. And to me, this is an essential plugin for WordPress because you want to make sure your site's secure. Something like all-in-one WP firewall and security. I think that's the title of it. Really good security plugin. There's also lots of other options as well, because you need to secure your site. You don't want it getting hacked, you don't want it being down, you don't want people entering in there, potentially getting sensitive information that may be available on your site. So it's definitely missed the mark there by not including a security plugin. Other options, not really vital in my opinion. Nothing was essential to a WordPress site. And the only 2 I actually agree with him on are Jetpack and Smush, because I think Smush is a really good image optimization tool, and Jetpack just for the site stats, I find them really, really helpful. But other than that, none of the others were essential. Now this has got me thinking, should I do my own list of essential or vital, whatever you want to call it, WordPress plugins? Is that something you'd be interested in seeing? Let me know in the comments below, because if it is, I will go and do it. Now, obviously, this is always going to be debatable between WordPress developers, WordPress site owners, to what is essential and what is not. But I think my list would be slightly better for him and cover a few different things as well. So let me know in the comments. But it is a real shame on this post, because usually Neil always hits it out of the park. He comes up with some really good information, some really good tips, really good advice. But for this one was a swing and a miss on this one, unfortunately. Some plugins that definitely aren't essential and things you definitely don't need for your WordPress site. And the fact that there was kind of a cross thing with the Google XML sitemaps, even though that's a feature that's available in 2 plugins that he previously mentioned in the list. So yeah, a bit of a swing and a miss on this one. So let me know in the comments, do you agree with me? Is there anything you disagree with me? Whatever it is, just let me know in the comments. But thank you for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you found this video helpful and you found it entertaining possibly, make sure to hit that like button, because it does help the channel out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do by buying me a coffee using the link in the description below, and that is very, very much appreciated. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.